Hello and welcome to the Fit and Free podcast. This is a podcast for women who want it all, to feel strong and confident in their bodies, as well as enjoying a sneaky mug on a Friday night. I'm an exercise physiologist and sports nutritionist, here to teach you how to achieve your body goals without food and your body controlling your life. So let's jump in. Hello you guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Fit and Free podcast. Today I have a very special guest coming on and sharing her amazing transformational story. I do just want to say before we dive into the episode, I just want to let you know that this episode does contain discussions about disordered eating. So if this is a sensitive topic for you right now, please take care of yourself while listening, or feel free to skip this episode. In this episode, Jen shares her story of how she was able to navigate letting go of restriction, overexercising, and how she was able to break free of these toxic beliefs so she could start fueling her body correctly, get her health back, and overall improve her body composition. She quoted that her husband keeps telling her how freaking good she looks, and she can't believe how good she feels now. So I'm excited to share this story to show you guys what can be possible when you actually start ticking the boxes with your nutrition and exercise, and of course mindset as well. So let's jump into the episode. Jen, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today. I'm so excited for you to share your amazing inspirational story, because I know it's going to help so many women. But before we dive into it, I would love to know if you could tell the audience a little bit about you, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay, so thank you so much for having me, and I am really excited to be on here with you. I've listened to every single one of the podcasts that you've done, so I feel really honored that you asked me to do one with you. I am from New Jersey and United States, and I am a mother of three, grandmother of three. We have a family business. I work for our family business, and I'm a grandmom all the time. So we just had a new baby. She's 8 weeks old, and I have a 2.5-year-old granddaughter. So I'm with them a lot. And then my daughter's due in March, and we're gonna have a grandson. So they keep me very busy. So that's what I do with most of my time. And I love it. It's the best.
Oh, I love that so much. And I love how
And then we have a family business that we all work together, my husband and my boys. And so
it's so beautiful. I love that so much. And your family is just getting bigger and bigger, and it's just like so good.
it's the best.
Yeah, I love that so much. So I would love to know, let's rewind time. Before joining the Fit and Free Academy, I would love it if you could tell us a little bit more about where you were, what you're struggling with when it comes to food, nutrition, exercise, all of the things. What were your biggest struggles and what were you going through?
I was at a point where I was really killing myself. I was running 10 plus miles each day, 7 days a week. On top of that, just kind of like playing around with the weights, like, maybe like 15 pounds, but every day I would do like some kind of weights. And I was eating very little, and I didn't even realize it. I was eating a protein bar around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I would eat dinner around 5, and that was it. So I was eating from the hours of 1 to 5, and then I was like fasting. I'd have coffee in the morning, and that was it. I was at a point where I'm 50 years old. I was at a point where I was exhausted. I was trying to play with my granddaughter. I was so tired. I didn't think I was kind of doing this for a lot of years. I was just getting worse and worse. And I was thinking, I can't possibly keep going like this. I cannot keep doing this. Like, I just kept doing more and more and more. I didn't want to go out to eat. If my kids or my husband just spontaneously, Saturday, yeah, we could go out to dinner. That was my night. I was going to eat. And then that's the day I ate whatever I wanted. And the rest of the time, if somebody asked me to go somewhere, I panicked. Even if it was breakfast, anything. I was like, I can't do that. And my mind would go crazy. And I was constantly focused on what I was going to eat. And that just really took up my whole life, exercise and eating. And it just was getting to the point where I'm like, I can't keep doing this anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I remember having those first conversations with you when I met you, what, like over 6 months ago now, or whatever that time frame. No, when did I meet you actually?
6 months ago, it
Yeah,
was in April.
yeah. That's what I thought. I also, is that right?
Yes,
Sorry, I got
yes.
there again. Yeah, I remember having those conversations with you when I met you 6 months ago, and you were in such a um I don't want to use the word miserable, but you're in such like just the shift that I've been able to see with you now. It really like shines light on how shit you actually felt back then. And it really hurt
That's what I
my
said. I didn't
soul.
realize how bad
Yeah.
I felt.
Yeah, because at
Yes.
the end of the day, a lot of people don't, right? A lot of people don't know that they even have a problem because that's just like what they know. And that's all like we get stuck in it, right? Like I was exactly the same when I was stuck in my toxic patterns with nutrition and exercise. It's like that's all I knew. I didn't know that they could be better. I didn't know that I could have this freedom and build muscle and feel not think about food. I thought that's just how it had to be. So, did you experience things like that? Did you know that you had a problem? And if you didn't, how did you realize that you did?
Well, it was you, when we had our conversation. I reached out to you and I was kind of like, oh yeah, like this would be good. I can get into like an exercise program. Kind of thought about, I wanted to tone it down a little. I felt like I couldn't keep doing the miles I was doing. And I couldn't sleep too. I was not sleeping. So I was up every morning at 3 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. So I would start running. And that's why I was running so many hours, is I was up so early, I couldn't sleep. And I remember talking to you, and then you kept saying, what are you afraid of? Basically, if I went from running 7 days a week to 2 days a week, kept saying, what are you afraid of? And I'm like, I'm not afraid of it. And then you said, then finally you made me say it, and it was to gain weight. And that was the first time that came out of my mouth. I didn't realize, I guess deep down, that was what I was afraid of. I told myself I wasn't, but I was obsessed with the scale. If anything went up, I was like, oh, let me go get a shower and I'll come back. And then did it go down? And I'm weighing myself 10 times a day. It was out of control. But I still didn't ever admit it to myself until you made me say it. And that you kept saying, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And you made me finally admit that that's what it was. And it was.
Yeah, and it's so hard to, you know, I even think sometimes it's easier to admit to someone else than it is to ourselves because like the moment that we realize that we have to admit something to ourselves, that's the moment then and there you're like, shit, something has to change. And of course, change is scary, change is terrifying. But at the same time, it's like, you can continue to run through these toxic patterns, or you can lean into fear and lean into the thing that is scary that actually potentially could change your life, just like you. So that's why I think your story is so freaking inspiring because it's not just a physical thing, but for your ability to step outside of your comfort zone and push your edges again and again and again to get to where you are is just like insane because a lot of people have trouble doing that. So I know that you are going to be such an inspiration to so many people. So, what was the tipping point? When were you like, I can't handle this anymore? How was your health in this phase? I know that you said you weren't sleeping, but what else
Good.
were you experiencing?
I wasn't sleeping. Got down extremely low in weight, and my husband was like, "You look like you're sick."
Mm.
I had no energy, and I was exhausted. And like I said, even coming just to play with my granddaughter like, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I want to play with her. And I was so tired. And I just felt like I was in this fog. And like I said, I don't think I realized how bad I felt until now, how good I feel. I don't think I realized. I thought I was okay and I thought I felt good, but I didn't. And like I said, when my sleep started to get really messed up, and then I'm, running on 3 hours of sleep, and I was in a really bad place. And like I said, I'm thinking, if I don't run, 14 miles after I ate pizza on Saturday. The next day I have to get up and run 14 miles. And if I don't do that, I'm gonna, I can't. I have, and I just kept increasing everything. And it was just getting really, really out of control. So, and my
Yeah, and
hormones were really bad. I went to a doctor for that. I had no testosterone. I had just all of my levels were bad. It was bad. I destroyed myself. So,
yeah, and it's hard because we have to have so much compassion towards ourselves in these moments. It's because, we're just doing the best that we can in any situation. So with that being said, it's just like, what gave you the courage to make change within your life?
when we had the conversation and you kept saying to me, if you stop running so much, what is going to happen? And you kept saying that, what is going to happen? What's the worst that's going to happen? And when I finally admitted to myself, I might gain weight, I just got to a point where I was like, I don't care anymore. I have to do something different. And I kept watching everything and listening to all your podcasts. And I'm like, I have to try it. So I just said, I'm done doing this and I'm just gonna, and it wasn't like a gradual thing. I just jumped in. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that about you. And that's the way that you've taken like this whole 6 months because, from where you've come from to where you are now is like, some people take, 2 years to do that. So that just goes to show a lot about you and your character. Like you want
yeah,
something to do it, which I
yes,
love about you.
yes. I just had to do it and basically prove to myself because you kept saying, like you said, what is the worst that's going to happen? Are you going to gain weight? And I kept thinking, okay, what is the worst that's going to happen if I do this? And I listened to her and I, changed the exercise. Start eating more. And it just changed my life for, it's amazing. Amazing.
And I love that. And let's get into that now. So,
Yes.
how has your life changed? Well, let's actually go through the process first. So, for you, it was all about gaining the confidence to eating more, really making sure that you started fueling your body correctly with enough carbohydrates and enough fats because we had a big protein obsession. I know a lot of ladies struggle with the protein obsession. So,
Yes.
how was that for you? Like introducing more, variety basically back into your diet, being like introducing eating out again. Like, how was that for you?
Well, the eating, increasing like my calories and stuff, that wasn't terrible because I was enjoying eating more. So then I was like, okay. And I was eating, I'm not going to say totally healthy stuff, but I was eating, I increased my protein, but I was, eating like cottage cheese and eggs and, things. So I felt better because I was eating more. And I remember when you told me the one day, you're like, eat a normal tortilla because
Yeah.
you don't, none of these like whatever, just eat a normal tortilla. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And I, started making wraps. And so I enjoyed the food I was eating. It was the going out. I definitely struggled in the beginning. I remember writing to you a few times, like, my friend just asked me to go out and get pancakes. What do I do? And you're like, go out and get pancakes. Like, so that took a little bit. And once I think I realized that, okay, so what? Go out and eat with your friends. It's not going to ruin your progress. And when I started to work it into my lifestyle, because I never even thought I was a binge eater, but my habit was my one day a week. It was, I ate until I couldn't breathe. And I would go to bed so uncomfortable. I felt horrible. And the next day I'm like, I'm not eating, I'm done, and it would start again. And the next weekend I do the same thing to myself. And I didn't realize at the time that I was binging, but I was because I was telling myself, when you're not going to be able to have this ice cream again until, next Saturday. So you better eat it all. And so, yeah, I felt like I couldn't just go out and do that. Like I can't eat ice cream or pizza on a Wednesday night or so that was very hard for me in the beginning. Now I don't care what night it is. If everybody says, let's go out, let's go out. I don't care anymore. It's so different. My sons the other night wanted to go out for pancakes, at night, one night. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So totally different, but that was definitely a fear for me was the eating out. And now you had told me every night, if you want ice cream, eat ice cream. If you want a cookie, eat like, so now it's not like that anymore. But the beginning, yes, that was difficult for me.
Yeah, amazing. And I totally get that because I struggled with that for a really long time as well. So, for someone who may be struggling with that pattern as well, what advice would you give to them?
As far as going out to eat and things like that, I
Yeah,
would just, I feel like now that I'm just doing that, it's not something I think about anymore. It's
yeah,
not like I don't have anxiety about it anymore. I would just say, eat what you want when you go out. And don't, I no longer save up my day and don't eat anything. I don't go hungry where I'm going to eat everything under the sun or a whole bowl of chips because I haven't eaten anything all day. I'll eat up until when I go. Like if I need a snack, I'll eat a snack before I go. I eat my breakfast, I eat my normal lunch, which before I wouldn't do that. Um, and it just doesn't become like it used to be. Like when I went out to eat before, I felt like I just ate everything. And I would eat so much because it the same thing. It was like that. When am I going to have it again? Now I don't do that because it's not such a I know that I can have it when I want it. So it's not that I have to eat everything on my plate. If I want to, I will. If I go out, we went out the other night and, I'm like, I'm in the mood for chicken parm and spaghetti. And that's what I got. Normally I would have gotten a salad. And because I felt like, oh, the salad, I can eat the whole thing. And, but now I just eat what I want. And it's definitely, you're more satisfied. You're not going to go home and try to find something else, or until you fix that, you have to just eat what you want. Um, and it does it gets easier and it gets so much better. So
yeah,
don't be afraid to
absolutely.
eat.
And thank you so much for sharing your perspective on that because, I talk about this all the time, right? Like, that's why building a healthy relationship with food is like vital for any sort of body composition goal, whether that's weight loss, whether that's building muscle toning, whatever. Because essentially, like, if we're stuck in these binge restrict cycles where, we're restricting ourselves so much, and especially if it's that, going out, restricting all day, and then eating the lowest calorie option and then eating that and then, not feeling satisfied, probably overeating when you're at the restaurant because you haven't eaten all day and then going home to eat something more because you're left unsatisfied. Like, of course, it's going to be next to impossible to lose weight or do anything. So I'm really glad that you shared your own perspective of living through that yourself and what actually happens when you stop with the restrictive mindset and you stop thinking that low calories is king. When essentially, like, trusting your body, eating for satisfaction and what you feel like, as well as fueling properly, is really the key to seeing results.
Absolutely.
I would love it now if you could share a little bit about your experience of the exercise change, because it was quite a significant change that you had to make with your routine. So reducing the amount of runs, we still kept runs in because of course we love it. So we definitely want to keep the exercise that we love in, but how did you navigate that of reducing it and sitting with that discomfort when you made that shift?
That was hard because again, I felt like I had to run all these miles every day. So you kept it in where I had a long run one day a week and then a shorter run one day a week. Um, it was hard in the beginning again because I felt like I'm not doing enough. But I think as I saw that my body, I mean, it wasn't changing. It wasn't some drastic, like, oh my gosh, like when I started to see that, and I really enjoyed the weight training. I'm really enjoying that. So I liked it. It was new, it was challenging. So I did really enjoy it. I'm not going to say it wasn't hard to not run as much as I do because like I said, I was running like over 70 miles a week, which is insane.
Yeah, a
And
lot.
it was crazy, but it kind of was like I don't know, at first I was like, oh, this will be nice. Like I won't be running as much and I'll have more time. But yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge, but I'm so happy I did it because it did show me that it was overkill. I was doing way too much and I didn't need to be doing all of that. And I feel so much better. I was constantly in pain. I always had some kind of ache or, pains in my legs and just to feel good and not be in pain. And yeah, I just feel so much better. I enjoy my running. It's not like I gotta get on a treadmill and run for 2 hours. I enjoy my running, and I have that break in between now, and it's not every day. Um, but yeah, as a cardio freak, it was a little hard at first. So definitely, um, yeah, a little challenging mentally.
What was the main things that got you through that? What were you focusing on?
I was focusing on being better for my family and not if it was, I mean, I didn't do anything unless my workout was in. And if there wasn't a gym, I wasn't going on vacation or anything like that. So I felt like with getting, I don't know, feeling like more like putting my family first. And it made me feel good that, like, now if my son brings the baby up and says, "Hey, mom, can you watch her?" And I didn't work out yet, I don't care. I'm like, okay, I'll get to it. Or I just have a much more laid back feeling about it. I still, I still love it and I still do it, but I'm more laid back, where before it's like, don't ask me anything unless, I'm done. So I feel
Mm.
like making it feel like, I don't know, like I was, that it's not like I'm putting my family first. I guess that's what kind of made me feel better about it too. And just knowing that I'm not gonna gain all this weight if I'm not. I didn't need when you used to say to me about how many steps you're taking, and you're taking too many steps and you don't need to do all these steps. I thought I needed to have like 25 to 30,000 steps a day. Like that in my mind, I had to have that. And I was obsessed with the watch and what was the meal thing? I don't even know what it's called anymore because that my fitness pal. Um,
Yeah.
so those things I don't even care about anymore. But I guess just not obsessing over that stuff anymore and knowing that, it was going to be okay. I guess in the back of my mind too, I said, if this doesn't work, I can always start, running like crazy again every day. But when I saw that I wasn't gaining a bunch of weight, or it wasn't, at like what I thought was going to happen, I knew I was okay and it was going to be okay. And like I said, I'm 50 years old. I could not keep doing what I was doing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely not. Then thank you so much for sharing that. How has your family dynamic changed since you've made these changes with your nutrition and exercise?
Everything has changed. In fact, I was telling you, I think I wrote to you like 2 weeks ago, my husband and I went away for our anniversary overnight, and I actually picked a hotel that didn't have a gym, which I would have never, ever done before. And we had a great time, and I didn't get up and work out for the first time ever. Um, we go on vacations now, and I don't stress about every little thing and if I'm going to get to the gym or not, or it's made family vacations so much better. Even going out to eat all the time on vacation, I had no stress about it. Because again, it's not like I think I used to go on vacation and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm on vacation. I'm going to eat everything in sight this week. And then when I go home, I'm not eating anymore. I'm done for, a month. I'm not going to. But now I don't even feel like I have to be like that. I feel like I can just go and, I mean, you have different things, but you eat normal now. It's like, this is my normal way of eating. So it's not like I'm binging or going crazy now on vacation. So it's so funny coming home. I just took my granddaughter away for a long weekend, coming home and not feeling like that I got to start a diet tomorrow. Like it's the
Mm,
best feeling in the world, because before it was like if I went away, I kept thinking I got to come home tomorrow and I'm not eating anything, and then I'm thinking, what do I have to eat all week? And I got to go to the store and I got to plan my diet, and I got to, I
yeah.
have not felt, even laying in bed at night feeling so full I couldn't breathe. I couldn't tell you the last time I felt like that, or the last time I felt like I had to come home and start a diet. I just feel good. Like I said, I'm not stuffing myself to the point where I can't move, because if I want it during the week, I just have it. So it's just such a different feel. It's changed everything in my life. I mean, I'm so much happier. I'm healthier. Um, Everybody keeps saying you look so good. You look so healthy. And it feels good. My husband's like, you have a butt again. so um, so yeah, it just feels really good, and it has definitely changed my whole life. I feel like I'm not obsessing about it anymore. And I can think now, I can think about other things, or we go to dinner and I'm there, I'm talking with my family, I'm having fun, not like going and looking at the menu before I go to see what can I get. Or when I'm there, all I'm thinking about is like, okay, that bread looks good, but I can't eat that bread. And, just it's so different. It's great.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love
So
all of
happy.
that so much. Makes me just so
So
happy for you. And I get it because like I always say this is like, if you've never really struggled with some sort of disordered eating, like it's hard to relate to it. But like everything you're saying, I'm just like, oh my God, I get all of that because I've been through it myself. And that's why I love this work, because it literally is actually life-changing when you get to the other side of it. So I'm just like so beyond happy for you. With
And I
that
feel
being
like
said,
even with my granddaughter and my
yeah,
daughter, I just don't want them to have the same issues I have, and I'm thinking, what am I going to pass down to my granddaughter? Not that even my family 100% knew what I was going through. I think they knew like, oh, mom gets a salad when she goes out to dinner and mommy never eats that, but it would always be like, oh, she's the healthiest eater or the most disciplined or
yeah,
um,
yeah.
but that really wasn't the case, so
I know.
yes,
I was exactly
yes,
the same. Like, oh my God, Laura, you're so healthy. Oh my God, Laura, you're so disciplined. I'm like, yeah, oh my God, I'm like just terrified of eating food because I'm so terrified of gaining weight. And you have no
yes,
idea how much I'm overthinking every little decision that I'm making.
exactly. That's exactly how I felt all the time, and they didn't know.
No.
So
Yeah. And that's why I love these conversations, because I know there's going to be so many people who are also struggling with that internal dialogue, and that's their normal. And I want you guys all to know, who are listening to this, that it doesn't have to be that way, and you absolutely can become fit and free, hence the fit and free.
I did
um,
not think it was possible, honestly. Even like I said, after I said, if this doesn't work, I can always go back to running, and doing what I don't ever want to go back to doing what I used to do again. Never. So
I know that can
not,
be such an inspiration
not
for so
going
many
back.
people. To finish off this amazing episode, if you could go back and give yourself advice, what would that advice be? 6 months ago, little old Jen who was running every day.
6 months ago, if I could give myself advice, well, for one, I just really wish I didn't wait until I was 50 years old, because if I could go back when I was younger and not have wasted so much time. But if I could go back 6 months ago, I'd tell myself it's going to be fine. Don't stress about it. You are going to be a totally different person in 6 months. And I'm, I would tell anybody who is even thinking about it, just do it. Don't wait. My life is totally, completely different than it was before. And I would just tell myself, don't be afraid. Just eat and exercise, but don't overdo it. And you're going to be okay. It's going to be fine.
You're
So,
absolutely going to be okay. I love that
yes.
advice. That's so beautiful. Amazing. Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I'm so proud of you, honestly. You're one of my biggest flexes. So,
Oh, you have
you're
been awesome. I know every time I've called you, if I'm panicking about something in the beginning, I would panic about things and I would text you or send you a message and you would get right back to me and like, and like I said, listening to, like you said, all the podcasts where you were going through what you went through. And I was like, oh my goodness, like there's other people that are going through this. Like, it's not just me. It felt really good. So
yeah. Well, yay, now you get to be
you
that person
changed
in
my
someone else.
life. Absolutely changed my life. So
Oh, grateful for
I'm
you.
so thankful. Yeah. Thankful for the day I saw you on TikTok. For sure.
I love that. I'm honestly like, I'm so proud of Jen's journey, and it is so wild that she has been able to move through all these limiting beliefs in just a space of 6 months. So I really hope you guys got a lot out of this episode to show you what can be possible for you as well. Like always, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye. The number one challenge that all my clients face before we start working together is a lack of clarity on how much and what to eat to lose weight. Often they are making two huge mistakes, constantly trying to skip meals or eat under 1600 calories. Secondly, only allowing themselves bad foods like chocolate on the weekend, but end up binging, all to tell themselves they're going to start again on Monday. If you feel like you have tried every diet under the sun and still can't figure out what to eat to achieve your weight loss goals, take my free 2-minute quiz. You can find the link in the show notes down below, and it will help you figure out exactly what you're doing wrong with your nutrition and exercise, and exactly what to do to fix it, so that you can finally be confident in your body and achieve your weight loss goals.